They burned my farm down, but it was federally protected land. HOA Karen, amazing. I was 27 miles out when I got the call. A neighbor's trembling voice cut through static. Danny, your barn, it's gone. It's all gone. I didn't scream. Didn't even speak. I just floored it. Dust swallowed the highway behind my Ford, my boots tapping anxiously against the floorboard. The ranch had been in my family for 3 generations. Every fence post, every tree I'd memorized them like scars, and now it was firewood. I arrived to find a skeleton. Blackened beams collapsed onto ash. My grandmother's rocking chair just warped iron coils. The hen house incinerated. Not a cluck left. And worst of all, the main barn, where I'd locked up my rescued horses, gone. Only 2 were found alive. The rest, I couldn't bear to look at the photos animal control took. I stood at the threshold, smoke still curling from the wreckage. A cheap lawn chair squeaked nearby. Karen Wellington, president of the Rivergate Lakeside HOA, a fake one she'd invented after buying 2 lots on the edge of the valley. She was sipping iced tea like nothing happened. Oh, good. You're back. She chirped. We had to take action. Abandoned properties invite pests. You burned my family's legacy? I whispered. She shrugged, completely unbothered. You were away for over a month. No signs, no fences. That's considered community blight under HOA Ordinance 12D. There is no Ordinance 12D. I snapped. Karen smiled, then pointed to a laminated notice of seizure staked in the ashes. Disputed territory, she said. The board voted. I looked around. There was no board. Just her and her boyfriend Greg, who wore mirrored sunglasses, carried a clipboard, and once tried to fine my goat for public grazing. I drove into town and filed a police report. The fire chief had already declared it intentional, but the cops shrugged. Property lines are blurry out there. One officer mumbled, no arrests, no charges, not even a citation. They didn't know what Karen didn't know. That month I'd been gone. I wasn't hiking or on vacation. I was in D.C., signing paperwork with the Department of Agriculture and the Bureau of Land Management, because I had donated my family's ranch to a federal conservation trust, and under federal code, the entire 38 acres was now protected as conservation reserve land. Burning it was no longer property damage. It was a federal crime. Karen found out the hard way. The first clue was when 2 black SUVs pulled up to her front lawn. The second clue was when agents taped off her house with federal caution ribbon. She burst onto my property screaming, "You tricked me, you tricked us." I calmly stepped out of my trailer. You didn't read the posted notices. Her face turned pale. She remembered the mailbox I'd installed fireproof and mounted on concrete. In it was the legal notice, still perfectly intact, with her fake HOA seizure order pinned beside it like a trophy. It didn't matter anymore. The feds had everything they needed. The trial drew media attention. A local reporter ran the headline, "Fake HOA Burns Down Ranch." Unaware its federally protected testimonies from neighbors came flooding in, photos, videos, even drone footage from a wildlife researcher who'd captured the fire from 200 feet up. Karen's boyfriend tried to flee. They caught him in Nevada, hiding in an RV filled with burnt wood chips from my ranch. The final charge sheet listed arson of protected federal property, destruction of livestock, obstruction of wildlife habitat, fraudulent HOA enforcement, tampering with federal signage. They both pleaded not guilty. They both got convicted. The final scene of the courtroom was bitter. Karen stood there, mascara streaked, blaming confusing paperwork and non-visible lines. The judge raised a brow. You printed your own HOA rulebook, enforced it with fire, and ignored a federally posted document. Karen whimpered. I thought he just abandoned it. I stood up from the gallery and said, no, I protected it. The courtroom clapped. The judge banged her gavel. Sentenced to 7 years federal and banned from owning land near protected zones. But it wasn't over for me. The land was gone. The horses, half of them gone. My heart burnt along with the soil. But the town rallied. Strangers donated fencing. A veteran carpenter offered to help me rebuild the barn for free. And one day, when I stood in front of a new plaque mounted on a cedar post where the mailbox used to be, it simply read, "This land was attacked. But it stands." I didn't need revenge. I had justice. But I kept the signboard she left behind, the one that read, HOA Enforcement Zone, by order of Wellington. I nailed it next to the new mailbox with one red arrow pointing to it. And underneath, I painted the words, "The last fire they'll ever start."